the best part of a leader is when he or she is not noticed, and it is the team that actually ends up doing everything, and you make sure that you are at the back end sorting out problems. Advantage for me was that Kotak had taught me the leadership skills to listen. I keep on saying it because it is the most important trait that I believe should be there for a leader.
Hi all, I am Reen C, the sole leadership coach and a success coach, and also the upcoming author of Evolvement. Welcome to the Evolvement podcast. In Evolvement, we talk about people and we connect with people who have faced adversity and shown amazing resilience. These people have actually changed the way they function on their own, and they have changed not just their own lives but the lives of people around them. And today I am really pleased to welcome somebody who I have had a long association with and I respect thoroughly. Yes, so today we meet Prasanth Prabhakaran.
Thank you, Ren.
Hi, Prasanth.
Thanks for inviting me to your podcast.
It's so special. You know, I think I would like to just share this. In 2006, I joined Kotak in Jan. You were this huge celebrity.
God has been kind. I usually have had a very nice team working along with me. So that's how you are what your team is. Thank you.
I knew my first job, my first role in Kotak, I had multiple roles. The first one was there were people handling your HR.
Okay.
You know, so there was Tejal and there was Raghav.
Yeah.
I used to make letters for Tejal.
Oh, wow.
I was literally the stooge, you know, in the company. But you know what, the kind of growth that I saw there in Kotak, and somewhere, you know, not just you, but your team, they were so inviting, they were open, they made us feel so welcome, and I think this was all, you know, top down, because that was the way you were and the team kind of followed. So if you had to describe your own leadership style, I would like to know that.
My leadership style, there's no style actually. I prefer keeping an open door so that people can walk in with their problems.
Yeah.
They are coming to me because they are stuck somewhere.
Okay.
If I can solve that problem for them and they are able to function at an optimal level post that, I think so our job is done. The best part of a leader is when he or she is not noticed, and it is the team that actually ends up doing everything, and you make sure that you are at the back end sorting out problems without having any need to end up coming in the forefront ever. It's finally your team which delivers. You are there only as a person who mentors, who grooms, and makes sure that you don't have any problems in life. At least that's the way I believe in it.
Wow. You know, there's something which I talk about, this leadership style, because I also mentor leaders. And one thing which I tell them is something which you exactly bang on said. In the Mahabharat war, okay, Krishna Bhagwan ne ek bhi shastra nahi uthaya. He was the Sarthi. He was at the back end. But this is the role that leaders have to maintain. They see people, things from a perspective which is little higher and little divorced from the entire proceedings, and accordingly are able to mentor people and guide them.
Very true, Will. Goes without saying that what you're saying is part and parcel of also the culture that Kotak had at that point of time. If you notice, the entire leadership team, right from Uday to Narayan, Kannan that we work with closely, all of them had the same style.
Yeah.
They made sure that an environment was created where entrepreneurs grew in the organization. And today, if you notice the broking world, most of the world is controlled or led by people from Kotak at any given point of time. An immense pride from our side. Finally, that is what Kotak has managed to produce.
You know, so there's one thing more which I have evolvement when I say, you know, every person in their life goes through a phase of their life, okay, where, see, what the purpose of your life is not you come, you have a family, you're supporting them, you're growing, and it's not even how much money you're going to earn. the purpose of everyone's life is how many qualities are you going to imbibe?
Very true.
Okay, so when I think God has a report card, I believe that. Okay, did you learn this quality? So आपके जो experiences हैं, whatever your experiences are kind of going towards you learning that particular quality of God.
So when I think about it, my life as my learning curve that is there. You call it spiritualism, you call it something that was imbibed from my parents, passed down from generation to generation, that is there. So there are phases, there are three phases that I consider very essential in my career. One was obviously the Kotak phase that was there. It was a learning ground for me, from managing small teams to managing 1,000, 2,000 people at any given point of time. You also grow as an individual. As I said, we always in Kotak had a policy of an open door. So you're used to listening to people's problems, be it official, which is what we are there for, and be it personal, when they reach out for their individualistic problems and try to solve.
Yeah.
But the Kotak phase for me was all about career. So when it comes down to it, it was all about wanting to be the number one broker in the country at any given point of time. And you're leading an organization like Kotak, you do not dream of anything which is number two. And that is the drive that was there right from the top on. But the move from Kotak to IFL, Kotak became a bank. There was transition that happened when you mature as an organization. People want to branch out, and that is what happened to IFL. So if Kotak taught me sales, it taught me how to run a business. IFL, and especially Nirmal, ended up teaching me about how to manage a balance sheet. There is a difference between the two. One was the sales driven, you're focusing on only numbers, and that is the only thing. If you have done X for last year, you're supposed to do 2X in Kotak. That's the targets that we used to set and go ahead in life.
Right.
IFL, I realized that the business that IFL had built over the last 10-15 years that it had been functional was a more retail business, whereas we were used to a more HNI business in Kotak. And the way you handle a retail population is totally different from the way you handle an HNI team or HNI population that is there.
Right.
Advantage for me was that Kotak had taught me the leadership skills to listen. I keep on saying it because it is the most important trait that I believe should be there for a leader. You have knowledge, you can always impart it to your team, but it is better to wait, first listen what is the problem and then try to give knowledge, rather than say that this is the way you're supposed to do it and I don't need to listen to anything that is there.
Right.
And that is the differentiator. We built a team for IFL which was there called Premia, and that was the retail branch banking team, broking team which was there at any given point of time. But then I had to walk on two tight ropes. One was a different kind of population was there, and the other side was a different retail kind of a mindset which had to be there. And the management had a goal of trying to get both of them at the same wavelength. And that was again a different learning curve and involvement. And it also needed a lot more human touch, because when you are taking a person who has done 10,000, 20,000, a lakh of margin accounts to suddenly talking crores, there is a transition for the person whom you are handling, who has to go through that same phase themselves. It is not easy for a lot of people who are there on the top end, who are used to handling larger clients. A retail is not something that they look upon. But for a retail person to end up looking at a crore of a client, manage that, there is a learning curve, not for just for the person out there, it is also for us as leaders of how to groom them, how to mentor them, and how to take them to the next level. You have to show them the potential that they have, groom them to a level, and then move it to a different phase.
This is, I wanted to, when you are talking about these people, like you're growing them, okay? But what was the biggest challenge that you felt within you? Like where were, what you had to dig deep inside you कि मुझे ये कैसे करना है?
तो सबसे पहला point है
हाँ.
कि my focus changed from numbers to people.
Okay.
That's a big change in my mindset which was there.
अच्छा.
मैंने बोला कि इनको groom नहीं किया. If I don't groom them to a particular level, the challenge left by the management to end up taking it is not going to be possible.
Okay.
So I have to change myself, saying that some numbers नहीं है. There is a thought process. There is a goal that has been set by the organization to end up taking it to the next level. How do I take everybody along? Whereas Kotak was only numbers, you just wrote numbers, there was nothing beyond numbers that we spoke about. Even if I speak to a person out there, it will be numbers. Out here, it was a different challenge. So the internal change that happened is that instead of talking numbers, I'll start with the point that you are doing a lack of margin collection today with an account. How do you go to 5 lakhs and what do you need from my end to end up making sure that that happens?
Okay.
And I realized that most of the time, most people learn by listening to somebody that is there. So you started going for calls with them. They are used to asking for 10,000, 50,000 rupee checks. And the moment you start talking about a 25, 50 lakh rupee check, people learn and start having the confidence saying that the client is listening. And they are willing to give. So there is a change that happens. It is an unconscious change. You do not do it, but you mold yourself to a situation that is there.
Wow.
And it's a big change according to me.
Yes.
To go through people and still get the numbers done. It's a large and still manage to end up getting at least 1,000, 2,000 people above a particular layer. Upgrade them in their skill sets. It's a big challenge that is there.
And that is why you are remembered so fondly by, literally, if I even today, like I talk to people, who I've worked with or whatever, everyone is like Prasanth sir. Prasanth sir ने ये किया, Prasanth sir ऐसे है. So that is the actual छाप छोड़ी है आपने सबके दिलों में.
I've been lucky with good teams to work with, good people to work with, and that solves. Finally, two lines that I remember, and I remember it very fondly from a song which was there. हमारे ज़माने का है, तो आप लोग थोड़ा. It is from the movie Awara, which says that कि मर के भी किसी को याद आएंगे, किसी के आंसुओं में मुस्कुराएंगे. If you manage to end up doing that portion where you have taken a space in somebody's heart, I think so 80% of the battle is done. The person will be willing to end up ensuring that your goals, the company goals, and the relationship are all maintained with a leader.
The one thing which I remember about you, which I think today I have to talk, because हमको ना leader, I used to feel leader is very busy. वो बस लगे हुए हैं, they are like 24/7, whatever. I'm sure you must be so busy, but you always had time to ask us, सब ठीक चल रहा है. Like I was so junior, but आप पूछते थे कि नहीं, अच्छा सब ठीक है, अच्छा कुछ चाहिए मेरे से तो बताओ. Okay, with me, with Tejal. अच्छा, we would put emails, like obviously, and I was dealing with multiple stakeholders. हम email डालते थे, कोई लोग 2 दिन respond नहीं करे, 2 दिन हो गए, 3 दिन हो गए. You're chasing them, you're going and standing outside their cabin, like literally hazuri लगा रहे हो. But with you made it so simple. Every, we knew an email sent to you will get responded within 1 hour. We knew that. A couple of times a day you would cross by, you would say, हाँ कुछ है तो बता दो. We never had to chase you. You were in charge and in control of everything. कि हाँ ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. What was this inner thing about you? That how did you? And I handled a team later and I realized this was not normal. This shows how well you managed everything.
So this is the third phase of my. I talked about Kotak, I talked about IIFL. The third phase was the Yes Bank, Yes Securities phase when I taken it.
Yes.
And one conscious change that I had done by that time, obviously, your talks about it, it feels very nice hearing about it because you never reflect about it that way. Our objective is that if somebody has reached out to me, either in person, I told you it's an open door policy.
You know what, as you were part of Yes Securities during, I think, the most tumultuous period of Yes Securities, उस time पे, as a leader, I mean, I can't even begin to describe what you would have gone through. Us time, I think you were there for nearly 6 or 7 years.
That's right. I was nearly there from around 2017 till 2022.
Okay.
So you're right. Not just me. I think the entire top management in Yes Bank went through a big turmoil that is there in their personal as well as professional lives. A lot of people moved out, but there were a handful of professionals who stayed back in Yes Bank. Was the wrong time to leave also, because the organization was in trouble. Obviously, career is important, but all of us were confident that we'll come out of it at any given point. But the challenge that was there, and that is where leadership comes into place, wherein is you imagine that nearly, I think so, a good large portion of the clientele base of the bank were retired people who kept their deposits, money with the bank because of the simple fact that there was a higher interest rate that was available with the bank. Yes Bank was among the top few banks who had a decent amount of interest rates that were present for senior citizens. Now imagine the problem that started off with the moratorium that happened with the bank, and prior to that there was turmoil because of the promoter moving out, and clients coming and approaching you wanting to know whether my money is safe. So that was a phase that most of the top management in Yes Group went through. I'm talking about Yes Group because there was Yes Bank, which took the major brunt of the problems that was there, and there was Yes Securities, which managed the wealth of the same clients that was there.
Right.
So all of us went through the same problem, and neither we were confident as a top management that that the money is safe. There will be a solution which will come about it. But how do you explain it to the person sitting opposite who is 60, 70 years old and tell them that it should be taken care of? Right now it is not there, but it will get taken care of, and we believe that there is work happening on the back end which will end up ensuring that it will happen. But I still remember one meeting that happened in the midst of all of this, when I think the top 20 leaders in the organization got together, and we said that I think so, let's all move out for the next 2 or 3 months, meet as many clients as possible, do as many clientele conferences as possible, to allay the fear that there is an issue that will happen and it won't get addressed. And I still believe that that was a very, very brave decision that those 20 leaders took, to stand in front where you have people ending up asking question after question about veracity, and you have to stand there and end up explaining to them what is going on at the back end at any given point of time. I still say that that remains one of the most difficult times in our careers, and I'm sure that I speak for all 20 of them that would have been there, who had to regularly travel and meet these same clients on a regular basis. Till the final problem came out with a solution, with a partnership of the government intervening to end up getting a solution done out. But that remains a challenge. You're right. It changed me also in a lot of fashion. Became a lot more empathetic in the way you look at things, a lot more, and your trust in God also goes up, right? When you have gone to the depth of what can happen into an organization and then coming about it strongly, and with leadership that worked very hard post the transformation to end up coming back to being in the top 10 banks in the country again. I think so God was there with us, and obviously those 20 professionals which ended up standing out in that courageous time to stand out and speak to people. Finally, communication solves a lot of problems.
Not just communication, I think, the resilience you all showed. See, it's not just intention, it is also action. Because you all said, to go one by one, talking to those clients and understand, like I can still feel that empathy when you said they are senior citizens. Somebody who has lived their entire life, they have saved that money for their retirement. And जब retirement में now you know that okay, now I'm going to live a decent life. I mean, I can not even begin to imagine the uncertainty they would have gone through. कि क्या होगा, कैसे होगा. So, you know, to understand that and to actually tell your management team कि no, सब जगह जाओ, just speak to people, talk to people, that really shows, you know, that there is so much, you know. So I mean, there's one thing which I definitely want to say, like when you think of someone who's an MD of a company or a CEO of a company, the one thing which most people say, हाँ वो तो set है, वो तो MD है, वो तो you know, you said that, and that is where you see that is the leadership quality where you're making everyone else, आपने सबका वो जो burden है, कि जो बोझ है कि नहीं मुझे ये देखना है. So that, what is that about?
वो that is the exact two lines that are there. कि मर के भी कोई याद रखेगा ना कि कोई अच्छा काम करके गया है. I think so that is pleasure. I think so that is gives me a lot of satisfaction. Today also people that I have worked with, I started off my career in Kotak in '96. And my car finance guys, I just recently, not more than a week back, met a collections head for North who used to be there, and we again came back to speaking about Kotak. It is that relationship, that personal touch that all of us have, which ends up making sure that life was worth living. The career that we have had was brilliant, and I think so. I keep on saying the three things that are there in my career are Kotak, IFL, and Yes. All three are extremely close to my heart. All three have people who are constantly in touch, be it as a friendly cup of tea or be it for advice in their careers that they reach out to. But yes, tugs on my heart because क्या है, सबसे ज़्यादा problem वहीं पे हुआ. और वहीं से जो recovery हुआ, I'm still in touch with most of the people who were part and parcel of that life. A lot of them continue to be part of the Yes Bank journey even now. But वो जो humanity का जो angle था during those I think so a year practically of turmoil that was there for all Yes bankers and Yes clients, I think so it's something that will remain embedded in my heart for life. I realize that God throws challenges regularly enough, saying that आंसर कैसे करोगे आप? Do you go tell a client कि आप पैसा निकाल दो, or do I tell them that बस कुछ होने नहीं वाला है? So you yourself are confused. You're walking that tightrope.
Yeah, I mean there was obviously उस time पे मुझे याद है. I think Punjab National Bank. I think that was
PNB also went.
PNB and now
PNC
if you
was
see,
also there. A bank which actually closed down and subsequently got taken over by somebody.
Yeah, so you know obviously I'm a Sikh, so I know so many people who had invested in PNC and their money has just gone. I think they're just getting some 50,000 a year or something is coming, and it's peanuts. They're not able to sustain themselves, and their entire investment portfolio has become zero. So, and at that time you have someone like saying that okay, Yes Bank went through the same thing, and आप लोगों ने, you know, y'all have handled it, taken that responsibility. And yes, the bank has obviously, you know, now, and it is now again touching the heights. So
I agree. So the fact I'm saying again is those 20 people sitting in that room taking a decision saying that let's touch base with as many clients as possible and as regularly as possible. So if I am traveling to an Ahmedabad, there will be somebody else traveling to an Ahmedabad in the next 15 days. Having those meetings regularly enough with all the clients and empathy की आप बात कर रहे हो, you also have to understand that there is a fiduciary responsibility that we guys have as bankers when we end up talking about problems that arise. This was one of that, saying that was when your clientele is in trouble or reaches out to you, it is like an employee itself. You have to solve their problem in some fashion, hold their hand and take them through that journey that has been tough for that 1 year that happened off. Hats off to those 20 odd people who have kept this organization afloat during those 1 year. Abhi to there are enough people wanting to come and join, but at that time it was a ship which had a lot of people leaving also.
Yeah. What were the tough decisions that you had to take that time in the team? I'm sure there would have been a lot of tough decisions.
So unfortunately it also coincided with the start of COVID.
Okay.
So you know that you're not able to come down to office. I am speaking now as Yes Securities. You had people had to be catered to. And a lot of people, even if you provided the infrastructure of giving them computers, needed connectivity, made sure. So you had decisions that you had never taken, which you never thought that you'll ever take in your life, which you had to take. Make sure that you had a rostering system where only few people came to office because you don't want to risk anybody. You had infrastructure that we surrendered because we didn't want to cut salaries of employees because of those tough times that happened. We believed that infrastructure won't be needed for the next 6 to 9 months. So we surrendered offices even when people never came to. All these are decisions that you have to take. I still remember during the same phase when moratorium got done. The Yes Securities team worked overnight. The moratorium, I think so, was declared at around 6 to 7 approximately. And the Yes Securities team had to change its settlement account where the clientele funds are received from the exchanges from Yes Bank to another bank. Otherwise, the money coming in will get stuck in Yes Bank at that time.
Right.
Overnight, it is one of the biggest cases that I have seen where regulator worked along with us, the exchange officials worked with us, the bankers worked with us. I'm extremely grateful to Axis Bank for opening a settlement account overnight during the night, and the regulator changing the settlement account during the night so that the payout is stopped and it goes to the and a mail that we sent out to all of our clients saying that your money is safe. You can withdraw it any given point of time from our different settlement account that is there, but you'll have to link other bank accounts to us. So a team working, the regulator working, bankers outside who has no inkling of what is going on in the bank, helping us out. I've never seen people function so well ever, and everything got sorted out. By the time the next day's morning was there, people could trade using money which was lying in the other bank, and they could attach any of their bank accounts to transfer funds in and out. Exemplary case of बोलते हैं ना जब कायनात साथ रहती है तो सब everything falls into place. It became one of those times that it came out. So all are tough decisions. These are a few. There are many in my career which I wouldn't like to take today, but at that time it was needed.
So I remember, Narayan essay. There's one long service awards ka function hua tha, which I had organized, in Kotak. And we had gone through a very tough phase, the Reliance Power IPO.
I remember it.
That entire, so I was completely there, and we had gone through. And जब उसके बाद, so I remember this one NS long service award which we had, and he actually came and he said that in tough times, the times are tough, but the organization has to survive. He says now it is no longer people. It is the organization. So somewhere everyone has to. So I knew the top management had taken salary cuts, and something was happening. But the organization survives. We are all going to survive. So
I learned it the hard way. Let me end up putting it this way. Kotak was a phase when the Lehman crisis. The last phase when I moved out was the Lehman crisis. And then we stayed back for recuperation of the organization coming back, and finally after nearly 2 years of the crisis is when I moved out of the organization. But from that day to today, if I have to end up looking at it, I agree totally with what Narayan has said, because greater good of greater people ends up making a difference. There are a few sacrifices that will be required. So you talked about management taking a cut. We till then had only seen salary increases that are there. But when it came to the tougher times, again in Kotak, the entire top management stood ahead and said that please don't cut the salaries of the people below. Let's end up taking a salary cut from our end. So that is when leadership comes out also, right? When, it is when at these times that you do not think about yourself. I said the best leader, I keep on saying, and I keep on telling the teams that I have tried grooming, is that अगर तू नहीं है पता चलाना और team is still achieving the target, then you have achieved something that many leaders do not achieve in their lives.
Right.
And that is what all of these organizations have taught me at any given point of time.
Amazing. So one of my favorite books, I have read the biography of J.N. Tata, मैंने इसके बारे में बहुत लोगों से बात भी की है. So J.N. Tata was the start of the obviously the the founder of the Tata Empire, Jamshedji Tata. और उस बुक में there is a particular chapter. It's called the men that Jamshedji built. So उन्होंने काफ़ी कुछ मतलब obviously उनकी जो dream थी was the hydroelectric project of Maharashtra, Pavna Dam. There was the Taj Mahal Hotel, there was Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and उन्होंने क्या क्या मतलब चालू किया. But the one thing was the men that Jamshedji built. उनके जाने के बाद भी, I mean 100 years plus, the Tata Empire is still standing strong. उनकी मतलब वो जो ideology जो आती है, like that is something which what is the छाप that you have left on your people? I mean, अभी आपके लोग क्या कर रहे हैं which you are proud of? I would like to know that.
So what do I say? Kotak, I do not take credit for anything because I do not believe that it is a one man's job to have built. Right. It was the Kotak's breeding ground which allowed entrepreneurship to be there. The leaders also ended up grooming a lot of people at any given point of time. So if you take today, I know that there are at least 8 to 10 broking houses where Kotak people lead the organization.
I can attest to that. Yeah.
There are at least another 8 to 10 people from Kotak, IFL who have set up their own businesses and are running it on their own. So they have become entrepreneurs on their own right, either in the capital market space or outside. It is this spirit of mentoring, grooming that all of these organizations, the large ones, always make sure that there is no vacuum left of leadership as and when it moves out. And the true strength of a leader is that even if you leave and go, after 100 years the organization should survive. And that is what has happened in Kotak. It continues happening in IFL, continues happening in Securities. I'm very proud of the people who have taken over and run those organizations from me. I was there for a short period of time in all of these organizations, 10-15 years in most of them. But जब निकल के गया, it still functioned brilliantly and has achieved laurels which have been way beyond what I would have dreamt of at any given point of time.
So you leave behind those systems, you leave behind those policies, you leave behind those processes कि नहीं ये this is the main one. हाँ कि कोई आके इसको आप हिला मत दो मतलब then yeah, so even when I left a company I've always felt that हर चीज़ अपनी जगह पे होनी चाहिए. Everything and I'm still available कुछ चाहिए तो but I've tried to ensure that आपको कुछ पूछना ना पड़े मतलब हर चीज़ का एक process हो. And I found that big organizations have that that one process कि हाँ ये है आपको ये follow करना है या ये ऐसे लोग हैं. So वही है, I think that shows that leadership quality that.
So 3 things that work out. Obviously the people that we have ended up speaking about quite a bit that is there. The right leader grooms people to take over their seat so that there are new challenges that the leader itself can end up taking over. The right leader also teaches mentoring at any given point of time that आप सिर्फ आपको मत बड़ा कीजिए, अपने नीचे भी build leaders that are there at any given point of time. Second is processes. As when you are a 100 crore organization, you can become a Rambo, walk around with a gun slinging around trying to shoot everybody out. But when you grow from 100 crores to a 2000 crore organization, you cannot have the same attitude at any given point. You need processes to be laid down at any given point of time. You need systems to be built which will last and which are built for a 10,000 crore organization.
Yes.
So that is again a leader's job. And the last thing which I believe is the crux of every business is to build human empathy into the system at any given point of time. Teaching people that numbers can still be achieved by ending up pushing the weaker ones up. Once you recruit them, you have to give them the skill sets to end up moving up. Not everybody can become a leader, but you should groom people to do their job better at what they are doing, and that is where you as a leader, be it in operations, HR, be it in IT, any other role function, people have to have that mentality to end up taking it. So the human touch along with people and processes will make a great organization for
the pillars, basically the pillars of any great institution. You know, it's not just a company anymore, it's an institution.
That's right.
Yeah. Something which is, it comes across, आजकल लोगों को मतलब सबको ना ऑपरेशंस करना है, सबको फाइनेंस में जाना है. आप इंटरव्यू लो, पीपल, everyone wants to do, okay, I want to do market research. There's absolutely no background of market research, no study. But when you say, will you do sales? There is this, red flag. Somehow people say, I don't want to do sales. Okay? You're such a successful person, and sales, I think, is somewhere where you have excelled and you have grown because of sales. Correct? आज के जो लोगों को अगर आपको sales के बारे में बताना होगा तो आप, what will you tell them?
So I'll come to that. But before that, let me end up, I think so most professionals forget that whatever role function that you take up, when you have been in HR all your life now, tell me, do you do sales or not?
I do.
Exactly. So if you have to convince a person to come and join your organization, you have to lay a JD out.
Correct.
You have to end up making sure that you have spoken to a guy that you like who is working in a competitor's organization and you want to bring them into your organization. That is also selling. If you are a finance head, you are a CFO of an organization, when you raise money from a bank to end up funding the growth of the organization, you have to sell yourself to the bank. So every role function that is there, operations guys, unless they have the systems right, and you also as an ops head have to recruit people below you, you have to sell yourself. So there is no role function that I believe in any organization which is not sales led. You might hide behind the safety of the fact that it is not a front facing organization where you have to meet clients.
Right.
But you are doing sales in an own fashion, irrespective of the kind of functionality that you function in an organization. If you are a product head in an organization, if you produce a product which the client won't take, then you have not fulfilled the role function. So you will have to go test it out. You talked about market research. You have to sell that market research to somebody finally. You might have done the analysis that is there. If you picked a stock as a research team, you have to sell that stock. People have to buy that stock at any given point. So sales is part and parcel of everybody's life. It is better for a person sitting in any role function to realize that, that if I do not do sales, I am not going to grow in life. So there are 2 or 3 sets of people that I end up talking about in my career. One is a person who is hungry to grow on a regular basis, so they work on their own development on a regular basis. There was a concept that we had introduced called FORCE in YES, when we had, and it continues to remain the bedrock on which the organization is built. FORCE starts with F. F is saying that you don't do anything that is not first time right. So if you have made a mistake previously, post that you cannot have anything that will go wrong. So you have to rectify yourself to end up making sure you go for a clientele meeting, you're well prepared, you should know about the client at any given point of time.
Right.
And if you know the client, you do not have to sell any product to them, you will fulfill their needs at any given point of time. And no sale has to be done in the first meeting. You will have to have a relationship built before trust comes in, and then you end up doing selling.
Correct.
Then you come down to O, your own development that is required as an individual. The day you stop grooming yourself to become better than what you were yesterday, that is the day that you are not faithful to your clients also. Because if you do not grow in your knowledge levels, you are going to not end up adding value to the client.
Correct.
And I keep on telling our professional team that is there that unless you are better than the person sitting opposite as far as knowledge is concerned, you shouldn't be advising him or her. Those people have run businesses and have raised money to that extent that today you are sitting in front, you should have knowledge levels better than, and that cannot happen without your own development.
Correct.
R is relationship. It is crucial for any sales guy to have lifelong relationships.
Yes.
Even today I am in touch with clients whom I had handled at Kotak at any given point of time, and I am not talking about employees now. I am talking about clients that I have spoken at any given point of time. And that relationship comes with the next word that is there, which is client centricity. If you are client centric, your relationship will be always perfect, long term, that is there with the client.
Yeah.
The day you lose client centricity and you believe that your goals are the only thing that are important, which is basically that you generate revenue for the company without thinking of the client, let me end up telling you, your relationship will also go to the dogs. And also understand that if you go for short-term goals for a client, the long-term relationship with the client will get affected at any given point of time. And last, E. All of the first four is all knowledge that is passed on, but if you do not execute it, execution is the massive failure point for most number of people. They listen, they imbibe, but they do not execute it. I know that I have to study, I have to read a research report when I go in the morning to meet a client, but I don't do it. I go with only a single knowledge that these are the 5 buys that are there. Why I am suggesting those 5 buys, I do not know.
Yeah.
I end up going into the clients without having studied the client. It shouldn't happen that I am going and meeting a person who does only derivatives and talk fundamental stocks with them. You're going with the wrong knowledge. So sales, it needs to be groomed along with having a natural skill for talking out regularly enough.
No, I think also people, I think, confuse sales with this concept कि आप door to door जाके vacuum cleaner बेच रहे हो. I think somewhere people have that thing कि feet on street कि आप ऐसे कर रहे हो, but understand that your product requires people, आपको जाना पड़ेगा लोगों के पास.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
आपके पास, आपने एक ऑफिस खोल लिया, एक वेबसाइट चालू कर दिया, nobody is going to come to you.
I agree.
Your awareness has to be because how you are going out, how you are connecting, and okay, so even though I am self-employed now, sales are important for me.
I agree.
I'm enjoying myself. Believe me, you know, I coming out of that corporate environment, I'm going for networking meetings, I'm building relationships, one-to-one कर रहे हैं. You know, it's so much fun.
तो आप जो what you used to do were internalizing it at some point of time. You are now forced to take it out because you have become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
आप पहले भी करते थे. It is not that you didn't do it at the level at which you are doing it now. But पहले भी करते थे. पहले भी जाके मिलते रहेंगे. Client, you liked somebody, you would have kept in touch with them.
Yes.
But today, that level, if you were on a scale of 1 to 10 at 2 or 3 earlier on, you are now at 7 or 8. To reach to the 10 level is still going to be a selling skill set upgradation that you keep on doing all your life.
You always realize, okay, this I did wrong. Now next time I'm going to correct that. So you know, so I have this elevator pitch, and now I'm doing all those things also. It's fun, okay. So but you know what, I don't tell myself that अरे मुझे ये करना है. I tell myself I get to do this. I am someone who is getting to this opportunity. I am getting to meet people. I am getting my own business. I am an income generator. I am not an income receiver. So, you know, when you start that mindset change which happens, and I think sales is all about that.
True.
You're selling a product, सामने वाले को वो चाहिए. They might not realize it, but imagine how much value you are giving to the person's life.
देखो, आप लाइफ कोच हो आज के तारीख में. 20 साल पहले तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट था भी नहीं, राइट? दैट इज वेयर आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट द लीडर्स कमिंग इन एंड ग्रूमिंग. टुडे यू हैव knowledge that is available because professionals have taken it up and built it as a separate career model out. You work with leaders to end up telling them what has to be done among say 20 parameters that you expect them to excel in as a leader. कि आप इसमें 10 में short हो, let's work on improving that out. For us it was a learning curve. Every day you make a mistake. I believe that I have made 99 mistakes and I have done just one thing right. And that one thing is what makes us sit here and talk today. But वो mistake तो करना बनता ही है. You continue making mistakes in life. You continue experimenting in life, which is what you have done when you have moved from a job into an entrepreneur role function. अभी आप ही सुधारोगे. You will end up making this better than what it was earlier on at any given point.
No, and I think one thing which I want to tell people is now the kind of growth that you have got is amazing, phenomenal. मेरे को बताओ, अगर if you had not done sales, do you think you would have got that same growth?
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. There are enough friends of ours who have ended up moving from other role functions to become business heads. I know of organizations which only chooses finance professionals to head as an MD and CEO.
Right.
So every organization has its own DNA. It's quite possible that today a salesperson, because they are the most vocal usually, because a natural sales guy talks more than what a support function guy will always talk about, and because they are always in the front achieving numbers, they'll be appreciated. But the guy at the top knows that among my skill sets, these are the three that I require, and this is the person who might not be a sales guy but should be leading the organization. So DNA of the organization is also important. It is not necessarily that you have to be a sales guy, but my belief is that every professional is a sales guy by life. आप आज selling कर रहे हो, you have to pitch your coaching abilities to other people. You are also selling yourself. There will be a finance guy, as I said, will also be selling themselves.
Correct.
So every organization will have different level of skill sets. You will choose what you're good at and what you have built yourself up for. But you will be selling irrespective of which role function that you take up in life.
So I guess the logic is that if you're not selling, you cannot head it.
I agree. Goes without saying.
Goes without saying. The selling तो करना ही है.
बनना ही पड़ेगा.
हाँ.
And there is no running away from it.
And also getting excited to meet people. You're meeting people. You're getting to know their DNA on how do you react. How do you access that. So this is a constant thing. That is, I think, evolvement. You are evolving because you cannot evolve in isolation. बस मैंने ये कर दिया, मैंने ये बोल दिया, and I'm done.
I agree.
That is something which will never happen. So that's, this has been a very exciting conversation.
Same here, Viren. Thank you, and it's so nice to see people that I've worked with ending up doing things on their own.
Yeah.
It's been a journey of the last 25-30 years that I've been working, where I see everybody that I've worked with has reached a level which I am extremely proud of. I have colleagues who have become extremely large at any given point of time. So sense of satisfaction remains. Now we look forward. A new journey has started for me. Let's see how we end up building this up over the period of time.
Yeah. So now, guys, now Prasanth is now the co-founder of WatchYourHealth. So if you can tell something about WatchYourHealth, I guess.
So WatchYourHealth was a journey away from the wealth management piece. Another thing that I have learned is that if you do not take care of your health, then you won't have a wealth to enjoy at any given point of time. And so you will be extremely happy to know that the founder of the organization WatchYourHealth is an ex-Kotak guy again. He was a person who has worked with us right from 2002, 2003 onwards.
Yes, Ratish Nair.
Ratish is the lifeline behind the organization. He is the person who ended up coming out with the idea saying that I want to find ways of digitally improving the health of Indians across board.
Right.
And he used the B2B methodology to end up, he works with insurance companies, he works with hospitals to end up working with them to find a way to keeping yourself healthy and not go to the hospitals at any given point of time. So extremely proud on what he's built. I continue to be there at the back end helping him out in whatever fashion. And I continue looking at other investment opportunities to end up putting money in similar spaces that is there.
Amazing. I mean, what a journey, Prasanth. And you know what, I wish you many more years, because this vibration, this spirit that you bring to the table, okay, this needs to get multiplied.
आप लोग करोगे, don't end up I'm there at the back end in any case. Any help that is required for any of the people or even the people that I have not worked with, I'm sure that I'll be there to help out. जहाँ जितना हो सकता है उतना करूँगा.
We need you to literally, talk to people. We need you out in the market. I would like that, you come for TED Talks, because this is the spirit.
So let me end up telling you. You should know this. I don't go for TED Talks. I don't go for podcasts. This is the first podcast that I have done, and I have done it only because it was you calling up from Kotak.
Thank you so much.
There are three pieces that are very close to my heart. Anybody calls up from this, I usually break my own rules, but I don't do it. My belief is that every I'm there to obviously talk to people, but every person goes through their own journey of learning and then improving themselves, evolving themselves over a period of time.
Right.
But we'll be there to guide.
Thank you so much.
Please, the pleasure is all mine.
I'm feeling now very grateful, highly. I think more than when I started this.
It's okay.
And
I have avoided everything till now. लेकिन आपने phone करके बोला, and the topic that you had was also very close to my heart. I believe that everybody who has had experience should end up passing it on to people. They should tell them about their own journeys to end up making sure that people do not repeat those mistakes and end up making people better than what they are.
Yes.
And finally, if we do all this, कोई ना कोई तो याद रखेगा जिंदगी में जब आप walkout करोगे from your career at any given point of time.
नहीं, and also that problem आती है, face it.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
You know, that problem is there for you to face it and overcome it and not say I give up. And I think even when people leave jobs, okay, I want to leave because manager is not good, this is not done. I was like, I have never left a job like that. And that is the time where you have to stick it out and say, no, how can I make it better for myself? And I've always left every job at a very high note. And I think that, you know, that respect is always there and people call me. So that is something that never ever give up and always create.
करोगे आप, you have started a journey now. I'm sure you'll do extremely well in this. All any help that is required from me is always available.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine, Viren. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.